All right, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Beit She'an. Almost every nation who came to rule in this country built a city on that hill. The Canaanites were here. The Egyptians in the 15th century BC came and ruled here in this country, and one of the cities that they built is Beit She'an. The Greeks, Alexander the Great, he had a military, one of his military units was of a nation called Scythes, a nation that lived in southern Russia, but they served in his army, Alexander the Great, and they were very strong, very powerful. They were good shooters. They knew how to shoot arrows while riding horses. They were very strong. They were not afraid of anyone. So after you finish your service, the king should give you a gift. Otherwise, they will revolt against the ruler, against the king, against the emperor. So they used to give them land and money. So Alexander the Great came to this unit and told her and gave her this land. Why? Because they were very strong and very powerful. Everybody loved this place. Location, location, and then location. Why this location is very important? What do we have here? We are very close to the Jordan River, the water, and we have a local national road that goes through the Jordan Valley. And on the east, we have Jordan today, which is the beginning of the desert. And up there we have Damascus. So coming from the east, this protected the land from the east. This was at the entrance of the Jezreel Valley of Armageddon. And the Jezreel Valley of Armageddon, where Tel Megiddo is the most important valley in this land. Why? Because if you control the Jezreel Valley, you will have the whole country, because you have two international roads, highways, ancient highways in that valley, in the Jezreel Valley. So this protected the entrance from the eastern side, the entrance to the Jezreel Valley. Now, when one of the units of military units, one of his army, Alexander the Great, gave them this land, and they are the ones who started to build the city down the hill. I said that most cities were built up on the mountain, or on a small hill, or a small mountain, on a hill or a small mountain, just like you see. But time of the Greeks, they started to build the city down over here. Then the Romans came, they made the city much bigger. The Byzantines came here, they built the city. The city was destroyed by a major earthquake in 749 AD, never rebuilt again. We only found the ruins of Beit She'an in 1970, which means before about 45 years. 43 years. So this was all covered. They discovered, or they found the ruins of Beit She'an and excavations. It is still an active archeological dig. Let's go and visit some sites in Beit She'an. That's in Latin, which means the dressing room, where you get undressed because you're going to go into the bathhouse. And then you have another room. You get to another room which is called frigidarium, which means the cold room. The cold room. Simply cold water, where you have cold water. Then you have another room called tepidarium, a warm room, not too hot, not too cold, water, room temperature. Then you get to the real stuff. You get to the hot room, which was called caldarium. Now, how do we know? Usually, the frigidarium is very far from the source of heat. And the closest to the source of heat is caldarium, which is the hot room. How do we know? How do they make, or how do we warm up the hot rooms? The floor itself boils so hot. How do you get it boiled hot, so hot? Well, this was the source of fire. Can you see the arch? The bricks here. There's a passage. It's blocked today. But there, over there, from the outside, that's where the source, or that's where the furnaces were, and that's where the source of heat was. So hot air streams through here, and you can imagine these pillars are much higher. They hold the floor. And this is the floor. Can you see it? This is the floor. So it's much higher. It holds the floor, so the floor is basically based on these pillars. And the hot air is underneath, is under the floor. And the floor gets heated. And the best way to do it is to bring cold water and pour it on the floor. What is the result? What do you get?
Steam.
Steam. Right? You get steam. And that's how you get, or that's how they used to have hot rooms in Roman times. Did you get it? So the space under the floor has a name. I promise the last complicated name. It is hypocaust. This entire thing is called hypocaust. The pillars are made out of bricks as well, because they can exert heat. So this is Roman and Byzantine bathhouse. This is the hot room. Let's go to the next room and try to understand. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Now, can you identify which room was this one?
Just right, man.
What do you say? What can you see underneath of? Yes, this is also the hot room. This is also caldarium. Why? Because we have the hypocaust. Did I make it clear? Yes, we have the hypocaust. But how come we have two rooms? Now, if you look here at the corner, look at these large, steady pillars. You have one over here, you have another one over here, and another one, and another one. We are standing right under this dome. In ancient times, we used to have a dome right above this room. How do we know? Usually when you have a flat ceiling, you don't need 3 or 4 pillars to support the flat ceiling. But when you're planning on building a dome, that's a huge pressure that supplies a huge, and you need these supports. So why do you need a dome for such a room, the Kaldari, the hot room? Why do you need a dome? We said that the best way to do it, the floor gets heated and the servants bring cold water and pour it on the floor. What do you get? Steam. And the steam goes up or down? Up. If it goes up, if you have a flat leveled ceiling, then you immediately get droplets, pack, 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 pack. And it's bothering, it's useless. But if you have a dome, the steam go up and it comes down like this. It's very nice. So we believe that this room was originally the Kaldarium, and that room was, which is the hot room, and the other room was originally the warm room, because we usually, as I said, in a bathhouse you'll have a cold room, warm room, and a hot room. Here we don't have a warm room. We didn't find a warm room. We found 2 hot rooms, and the cold rooms is not reconstructed, but no warm room. So we believe that more people came to the bathhouse, a greater demand, and they used to come for the hot treatments. That's what they came for, not for the warm room. So they made the other room, which had a flat ceiling, they turned it into a hot room. So you have the warm room, originally the warm room, which was turned into Kaldarium, the hot room. This was originally Kaldarium, the hot room, and you have the cold rooms, which are not reconstructed. We're in a bathhouse. In every Roman city, you'll find these things. We're talking about 2,000 years ago. No cranes, no nothing. They used to build with their hands. And look what the Romans did in this country. In every city, we're going also to Caesarea by the sea. You'll find a theater like this one. We're going to see now. You'll find a bathhouse. It's the same. They don't touch So this street is called Palazzo Street. It's a small one. It starts up at the mountain and it ends at the theater. Can you see the theater? So it's a small street and it's not level. Can you see it? Why?
Sewer. Sewer.
If it rains, they don't want the street to be flooded, so water goes on both.
They ain't figured that one out in Kentucky.
It's wide enough for two chariots, two-way traffic. This area down here is called the Agora or the Forum. This was the main market place. Most of what we see here is either Roman or Byzantine or Greek. Most of what we see is Roman. Okay, so the Agora or the Forum, this is the main marketplace, and you can see the reeds of Europe and faces from the tree.
Ancient sump pump.
Yeah, really.
These are shops facing the Agora or facing the Forum, the main marketplace. But these shops used to have another level on the roof. So two-story building. How do we know? But it's too high to be facing the Agora. You have these shops on the ground level. How do we know that another shop used to be up on the roof? They were facing not this direction, they used to face the other direction of this street. How do you know? Can you see the openings over here? So shops facing this direction and shops facing the street of Palazzo. So this is the side
They didn't have all this uncovered last time I was
you
here.
can see a row of pillars on the other side and shops on the other side and another side row behind these pillars. And if you can see this area in the shape of the letter C, it is called sigma. Sigma, that's the letter C in Greek. We didn't call it sigma. The people in antiquity called this area sigma. A small, it's a kind of a small wall separated from the Agora, from the Forum. Some of these shops were hookahs, houses for hookahs, prostitutes. How do we know that? We call inscription. You can come and enjoy and tell your friends. very hot. We're gonna move faster. Can you see the tree up there? It looks like what? A cross. Can you see it? A movie was filmed here. I'll let you know the name of the movie, but because I can't remember, I'll let you know on the bus. And the Egyptians, when they came, their altar was built up on top. Can you see the kind of umbrella? Underneath it is the Egyptian temple and altar that was built here. We're talking about the 15th century BC up on here. Alright, if you build your city up on a high hill, it's like a natural fortress. It's hard to climb the hill. Alright? But for more protection, people used to build wall around the city of Bet-Shean. By the way, you can go up, but yes, thank you. Alright, please wait over here, everyone.
He's gonna go sit on the toilet.
Don't follow me, wait over here.
Wow. He's gonna go down there.
No, you better not talk to us. I like how they mosaic everything. I mean, I was telling Tanya, well, I guess when you got an endless supply of slave labor.
He's going down there to talk to
Oh yeah, this is a neat room. I love this room.
Yes.
It's one of my favorites, no matter where I am.
especially after coffee.
This is an ancient toilet. Washrooms.
But not much washing happening.
Water runs underneath here, and they used to sit like this, next to each other. The rich people, the wealthy people, used to send the servants or the slaves to come in winter and eat. All right.
We'll see that again at Caesarea.
Yeah.
So if you were poor, you had a cold bottom. Yes, we're in an amphitheater. It's a natural.
another amphitheater which is much larger in Caesarea by the sea. We talk about amphitheater in details, but what I want you to remember, can you see the opening up there? Can you see them? These were the entrance to the amphitheater, and each one is called vomitarium. When people goes out, it looks like someone is vomiting. Vomitarium. And the seating section is called cavia. The stage is called scena, and that's where the word scene comes from. Scena, so scena, vomitorium,